Ahoy, crypto pirates! Welcome to your Discord Syndicate effing hangout. I am the captain, your captain, RG3, bringing it to you live with the crew. Guys, I've been waiting, 2 years now to be able to announce something for real without getting usurped or rug pulled or somebody else getting the first opportunity to do it. Every other streamer on the planet, whether they were Hexicans or not, got to show these guys already. So I get the last opportunity to finally bring them to you and tell you all about them because I know them all personally, very personally. I know things about them that they probably haven't talked about. I know all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to get to introduce each one of them. So first, ladies first, of course. I want to tell you guys about who's behind the scenes making it all happen. If it wasn't for this lady, and I do mean lady, if it wasn't for her, none of this would have happened. Zero, zip, nil, nothing. Because the other two guys, as talented as they are, I'm sure they don't have enough sense to blow their nose or take care of business the way she does. She makes things happen, gets things done, makes sure everybody's happy, even when everyone's bitching, whining, moaning, and complaining and making her life as hard as they possibly can. I can't thank her enough for listening to my bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining, and for all the stuff that she's done for my family, for the show itself, for the highest of stakes. She's done it all. And everybody, ladies and gentlemen, my lady, Caitlin, how are you doing?
RG, you're gonna make me cry.
Oh my goodness.
You always knew you were my favorite.
Everything I said was absolutely 100% true. You're very humble and you don't take credit for anything, but you've done it all. And
I appreciate it.
And thank you so much for all the hard work and dedication. You've really made this thing happen.
No, thank you guys. You guys really, you especially always took us under your wing and really was always so warm and welcoming. And so I appreciate you, my friend.
Well, you guys deserve it for sure. Now, the next gentleman I'm going to bring up is he is the right hands man. He is always got a clear head. He's always got when everything could be going sideways, but this man has a steady head all the time. And this is my man, Mr. Grant. How are you doing, sir?
Right back at you, RG. Right back at you.
Man, you're the best, dude. You are the best. It's been a pleasure working with you. You guys are just so talented, man. I bow down to you. Good job.
I appreciate that, but you've made this ride such an incredibly rich and rewarding ride. You have pirated your ship well, regardless of how choppy the seas have been, and I'm happy to have swabbed the decks.
Oh, well, you've done a fine job of it, that's for sure. Now, this other guy, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for him, because he's always getting me into trouble, always getting me into things that I can barely keep my head above water on, and he makes it happen behind the scenes all the time for me. Not only is he my business partner and, the right-hand man of Discord Syndicate, but he's my good friend and confidant, Mr. KNTX. What's happening, executive producer?
Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Well, I try every chance I can to get you into trouble, and I'm glad I got you into this trouble because This has been a heck of a fun journey the last 2 years.
I think the phone call went, hey, open up your checkbook. You got to sign this thing up. We're making a movie. I think that was how it went. Something like that.
It was definitely the beginning of the conversation was, hey, I think it actually started along the lines of, you may not like this, but I'm going to need
that.
Yeah, they always start that way. Yes. You may not like this, but I'm telling you right now, you got to open your wallet because we've got to be part of this. So not very often does, some small YouTube streamers get the opportunity to work with 5-time Emmy award-winning film crews and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the beautiful setups we have now that we currently stream from. So this has come a long way thanks to them alone. So
it's the best thing that came out of this, you know, is the setup.
I was gonna say it was the setup. We did it all for the setup.
Well, I mean, when you called me up and I got the conversation, it was, you know, oh no, not a freaking movie. Are you kidding me? A documentary on the Hexicans, on us, on the freaking on Hex? Are you? Well, I'm glad I have never ever been able to say no to you, but you know, I'm glad we did what we did, and here we are. And next week is just going to be like the cherry on top of this whole thing. Watching it.
Yep.
So now, last but definitely, possibly not least, this man shows up at my house telling me he's going to film a movie and he's going to ask me some questions and things. And we had met once before and we talked a little bit of business and I thought, okay, this guy seems to have a movie head on his shoulder. And I named him Movie Boy, and he came over to my house the first time, and our first conversation, he tries to upset me and tell me how bad and bleak things were after he got done talking to Richard, just to get me fired up, I think. And then the relationship from there on never changed. We constantly, every time we got in front of the camera, it was him asking me questions and things. He seemed to figure out how to push my buttons and make the captain rant and get upset and get fired up. And there were a couple of times I think that Grant was trying to jump in between us and say, whoa, what's happening here? But it really worked. And I can't say enough about the talent that this man has of telling a story and how he digs it out of everything from, you know, Richard to all of us to my friend Mikey to, I mean, this guy, and he does it all too. We're in Florida and we're filming some supercar stuff and driving around and having fun. This guy goes and rents one of those single wheel skateboards. And I asked him if you've ever ridden one before. And he's like, well, I'll figure it out. And he's got himself like a $25,000 camera. And he's on this skateboard for the first time, chasing a Lamborghini up and down the streets of Florida, filming us. I mean, it was one of the most. There was one little incident where he almost crashed into a Lamborghini, but he got away from it. And but yeah, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And but that's the kind of dedication and go get it that this guy has. And I can't say enough about him. And I'm so glad that he's become my friend. And this is your man, everybody, the man of the hour. Patrick, what's happening, buddy?
Howdy. And for the record, the Lambo crashed into me. I did not crash
No,
into
the Lambo was going straight, and you were doing this kind of wiggy thing with the camera in your hand. Come on.
Patrick.
It's definitely good that Caitlin wasn't on that production because she would have shut that down right away.
You know, there's a reason I had to learn how to do sutures, how to do stitches because of Patrick. Because we kept being on these remote shoots where I was like, we're not going to be able to get to a hospital. I need to figure out how to sew him up.
And the funny thing, it was literally like, it was like 10 o'clock that night. They were trying to find a helmet for him because they were worried about him being out there. Well, they couldn't find the helmet. So he was out there without a helmet.
He just thought it looked cooler. He just thought it looked cooler.
I've been, you know, challenging you a little bit. The first time you almost came over the camera at me, which, you know, I thought was quite great.
You did.
Now it's your chance to get me back. That's what this is.
Not a two
here. You've got an audience. I'm in trouble.
Well, we'll see what else we can dig up if we can remember some of the stuff that we've gone through. So anyway, here we are, guys. Finally, for the first time, all of us sitting down on stream, talking to the community, telling them about what we've done. Gosh, I don't really know where to start. I mean, you've told the story to everybody out there. I thought maybe us just talking about some of the things that we did. Well, I guess we can't give away any of the movie stuff, so we got to be careful about that. But
we can give away some movie stuff. Like we can tease movie stuff.
Okay.
If it's details in the movie, Caitlin's going to be far less, protective of that versus the like other stuff. Like
yeah, there's still stuff I can't talk about. Sorry, guys. The chat's going to give me a hard time forever. There's still stuff, even this close to release, that I can't talk about.
Alex loves it when I call him and I'm like, okay, so I have this thing, but you can't tell anybody. And he's like,
I'm good at it. I'm practiced.
So
well
good
practiced.
So, you got to do it with Richard too. Like you got to say it like 4 times. Like we have an update. You can't tweet this. Good thing with kinetics, you only have to say it once because you're like, okay, in the vault. But like Richard, like, no, this is just for you.
Yeah. Hey, we got Big K in the chat room. What's up, Big K?
He was originally supposed to be part of this, but I'm not sure if he's in a civilized area with good reception. So
if you are Big K, you got the link. So we haven't tweeted the link out today because we wanted to get the highest of stakes in here and get to talking. So Caitlin, let's start with you.
oh boy.
Just give us your experience of what. We had our first dinner. You met all of us. What were your first thoughts of how this was going to turn out? What did you think when you met everybody?
Oh, well, actually, so what's interesting is, so the first even inkling
we were
I
in
had
Vegas,
of this,
right? Were we in Vegas?
Yes, we were in Vegas. Was when no, I met you. I came with Patrick to your house like a couple weeks into filming that first time. So I knew you, and then we went to Vegas, and that's when I met everybody else.
Okay.
The first time. But the first time Patrick even told me about this, we were sitting down at dinner. We had been in like 2 or 3 days of meetings, and he was like, so we have this idea for a documentary. We may be flying to Europe sometime in the next 3 or 4 days. I don't know if it's going to work. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, yes, to make sure.
Caitlin, what do we call the three of us? Because that's actually the offer you made.
We are the SEAL team.
She's like, I think this needs the SEAL team, and we're having drinks, and Grant's already on board, and so like, of course we want the SEALs, right? Like, of course, but it's like, don't overplay your hand, right? It's like, oh, do you think you might be able to make that work? And then Grant and I are texting like, shit, she's coming, we're good. And oh man, like what a difference it made having you there in Estonia, right? Like just all of that we figured out in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know if we were going to do this thing, and then we met Richard for the first time, and like when you meet Richard, you're like, yeah, big character. Like there's a lot here, and we left that shoot, and we were like, okay, I guess we're gonna like make a thing, and that's when we started meeting the community, and I felt calmer meeting the community, and like the first time we actually hung out in Vegas, Kinetics and Captain, I was like, okay, all right. We're going to make this thing. These guys are cool. I was like, I don't know about this whole crypto thing.
It's easier for you to say because Grant and I were the ones that went to the funeral home next.
Yeah, I just heard about that.
There may or may not have been some people dancing on a coffin.
A
used coffin, by the way. Did you guys know?
Yeah,
that we okay.
Did
so
we tell you guys that story behind that?
Let's tell you the story about the coffin. So we get up at like 0:30 in the morning because we didn't have a coffin, and we were offered a coffin by a funeral home. Now the only thing is that we had to wait, and this is an honest to God true story. True story. We had to wait for them to take the body out of the coffin and cremate it, and then we could pick up the coffin. So myself, Kinetics, another Freddie Quotes, and another one of his friends drive the pickup truck down to the crematory, get the used coffin that I don't even want to tell you what was inside of it. Get the used coffin, put it in the back of the pickup truck, and take it to the church where we were filming.
Oh, this, my friends, right here is the story that had we been told, the movie might not have been made. Actually said, because he invited us to come down, he did not tell us that, and I have a feeling that was intentional.
That coffin was literally still warm when we got it into the church.
RG.
Oh no.
It wasn't warm. The body wasn't warm, but it did still smell like formaldehyde by the time we picked it up. So
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, that is a true story. That is no BS.
and we got lucky that Freddie Quote's neighbor and good buddy is a redneck from Tennessee, so he actually had a pickup truck because not everybody has pickup trucks in the DC area. So.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
that's-
God! Thank God we didn't know that when we went through legals, because that would have been something. There's definitely something there.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
so there's
so
probably
Patrick-
some spiritual repercussions happening to all of us who were dancing on that coffin. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
right.
Gotta go put
So
some good
Patrick reached
juju out
to
there.
me, and he says, "So you're interested in getting the community involved with this?" And I said, "Absolutely. We need to get together." I said, "Me and my business partner RG are already in. We're ready to go." And well, I need you to tell us, if there's someone else that you might want to get involved, and that we need to meet sooner than later so we can start discussing this over dinner. We can have a good conversation about it. And so I'd been talking to this man, Big K, and I said, "Hey, Big K, how interested are you in being part of the production of this movie? How would you like to come on as a producer?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. It sounds cool. Like, sounds fine." In Big K fashion. It was
That's
pretty
how he
freaking
always
sweet.
says everything. Yeah, let's do it. It sounds
Yeah.
cool.
Sounds
good, man.
Cool. Oh, and so so I told him, I said, "Well, we're all headed out to DC and we're going to be making this music video. You can come meet the guys there because I know both these gentlemen are going to be there that time." He said, "Great. We'll go to a steakhouse after we're done filming and we'll get everyone together." So it all worked out well that, and I reached out to Freddie and I said, "Hey, Freddie, do you mind if the film crew shows up?" He's like, "Are you kidding me? Of course not. Like, bring them on." So they showed up, and in fact, the guy he had filming his music video was so nervous about having a professional film crew show up with red cameras and like fully geared out, and they just hopped right in there and started filming themselves.
Can I tell you the real story behind that, Kinetics? 'Cause I don't think anybody's
Yeah.
heard this. So Grant and I walked in and we had talked, like we knew that you were interested, and we knew that you had some friends. We hadn't met Big K at the time. We didn't really know of RG, but you had said we're going to go to dinner, right? And we know there's a film crew there. So we've got to find a way to also, to show that we know what we're doing, but not take over, right? Like, we're not going to come in and be like, look, blah, blah, blah. So we make friends with the filmmakers that are there. And like you said, they were a little shy and nervous. And so we're like, hey, when you're done, like, maybe we can do a take. We can use it for the movie. And Grant and I are at the back totally like conspiring of like, we'll do this and this and this. And I don't know if y'all remember, but like we had the whole thing staged and choreographed. And so like when it finally came to the end and they're like, okay, you guys can do your thing. It was like, okay, and we need you over here and there, and then on action, you're going to go here, and like the whole thing just over the top, and cameras whipping around, tissue boxes getting thrown around, and I can just remember like doing that take, really, because it's like, this is an audition. We wanted to show y'all what we got. You know what I mean? Like, we got 30 seconds here, and the filmmakers at the back of the room, we were like, okay, you guys, like, you want to do another take? And they're like, no, we're good. We're done. And they were just so happy. So that was way more pressure on Grant and I than I think anybody realized, because we were both like, we got to make this one sing. We get one take here. But it was so much about showing y'all our passion and our heart.
Dude, we didn't know what the hell. We didn't know our head from our asses when it comes to filmmaking. We were impressed. So it worked for us. It worked. Whatever
I
you
think
guys
we
were
were
doing,
probably auditioning more for you guys than you were for us.
But that was a good time. Sitting around that table, you guys think if we, because all six of us were there around this table. Or wait, Caitlin, you weren't there. I'm sorry. It was just me, Patrick, Grant, Big K, and RG. And we're sitting there. Would you guys have thought 2 years ago? Because this was and Big K's wife, of course. Yes, absolutely. Would you guys have thought almost to the day 2 years ago that we'd be sitting here right now, ready to launch? No, it was 2021. It was the
was it 21?
It was on the run up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you guys have been hit up by Quattro Cinco long before you guys reached out to us to help make this happen. Because at that time, we were by far, and I say to toot our own horn, we are still the largest community stream in Hex. So when it comes to that, like I think it was a good fit for all of us. But would you guys have thought 2 years ago that we'd be sitting here ready to premiere this movie with an official movie premiere and a red carpet event and everything? Would you guys have thought that 2 years ago that this moment was coming?
I mean, I hope that they would have thought that. Because
I was gonna say, like, that's like I can't say no. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say damn straight. I'm gonna say yes, because if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
yeah, and I was hoping so. I'd hope you all were planning for that. It's like me myself. No, I have no idea. This has been an awesome experience the whole way. So like I've learned a lot and enjoyed myself through the process. But I've been surprised many times over. Oh, that's how this works. Oh, okay, interesting, crazy.
Yeah.
So
I think the surprising part, like we are getting to where we always wanted to be with this premiere and now the holdovers and everything else that's happening. But the surprising things were like building Big K's basement and the crypto mine, which is like wild when you see it. But the actual moment when like Big K came to the studio and saw it and like got goosebumps. And maybe, I mean, you can share, like, Big K, how did that feel when you walk, like, but those moments, right? And we had those with you, RG, you know, like in the stuff that we did with, like, you and Mikey, like, I can't give away too much because that's in the movie, but there's things that happen that are just very real moments. Kinetics, you getting a chance to interview Richard before Hex 731, you know, sitting down doing that podcast, like those moments that are just like, that's life. The marrow of life, and getting to experience that with y'all and document it. But like Big Kid, you remember what it felt like to walk into that and be like, I remember you telling us, like, this is exactly like I remember it, which is storytellers. Like, that's what we want to hear.
no, I mean, the feeling of it's strange because, I mean, it's the little details that y'all got right. It's just like it was that really made a difference, you know, whether, you know, that I thought really brought the essence of it all out. But yeah, it was the interesting feeling because, like, I mean, it's, you know, I've never been on a set like that, built like that in any way, you know, and being there from the beginning of like, oh, there's nothing here, and it was just me putting together machines to like, oh my gosh, here it is brought to life was pretty fantastic.
That set was amazing. It was amazing going in there and seeing that. It was like, this is somebody's basement. I mean, it was crazy. It was awesome.
It was grandma's basement for sure. Had the grandma's basement vibe to it.
And we got to go to grandma's basement. That's what's wild is like Big K invited us over. We got to go to grandma's house. We got to interview grandma and go to the actual basement where it was. And so it's all modeled after real life. And when you watch it, like the camera goes into the real basement, and then it's the mock-up that we recreated from, you know, a dozen years ago.
I'm currently in the basement actually at the moment right now.
No way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If y'all want, I don't know if it's gonna work, but I could take you on a little tour here of what we turned it into.
You finally got the work done there. You guys were remodeling.
Oh yes. So I mean, the rest of it's not that exciting, but it's just a downstairs basement. But the one room that we put together here,
minus the Bitcoin miners.
No. So we put together a little bathroom here.
Does that mean that grandma's home?
Yes, oh yeah.
Oh my God, you got grandma? Does she want to stream?
I don't know about that. I'm not
she had such. Oh man, that was wild. Getting to interview grandma and her memories of Big K. Can you imagine, like, early days of crypto, going to your grandparent and being like, "Hey, I want to put my machines in your basement."
Yeah. So instead of a Bitcoin miner, I put a micro pool hot tub inside my grandma's basement instead, which is
nice.
Awesome.
That is sweet, bro.
Excited for everyone to see the basement and have seen this. Like, it's wild.
Yes. So the kids have been playing, as you can see, with the fishing toys and everything, you know. But yeah, this has been a hot towel warmer, all the rest, you know. put this together it took a while to get this all done. But so now my grandma's been enjoying it as well, which is super awesome to have her be like, she comes down here and she's like, wait, this is are we sure we're still in my house? My house is upstairs, right? And I'm like, yeah, it still is. So yeah, that's what we've been working on
That
here.
is so cool, Big K, that you did that for
Awesome.
your grandma. That is so cool.
Oh yeah,
Very cool.
that's awesome.
Good man.
All the
Turned
machinery
it into
in here
a
is
spa downstairs. Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
have like an in-house massage therapist around the corner
Oh,
or something?
yeah. All this machinery down in here they did was pretty impressive. Like this is all, I mean, super awesome work that they did putting this up. The heated floor system too. Gotta have the heated floors.
Yeah, baby.
Especially in Chicago.
Absolutely.
Man, I missed you by a
Anyways.
week. I was just out there.
I know. I was actually just talking to Johnny Chaos, and he was like, "Man, we missed me by like 3 days. I was coming back from Canada, and just missed you. Ships passing in the night, Captain.
Very appropriate metaphor.
Yeah.
Indeed.
One of my personal moments I remember though was I have a buddy that owns a gym that I belong to, and I said, hey, he wanted to film in a gym, so I said, hey, my buddy right around the corner here, you got a gym? No, it's not good enough for Patrick, and this is a nice gym. So Patrick goes and finds this freaking warehouse gym like on the other side of town through traffic. I'm in
This is
LA.
not going to go well for you, RG. Grant
I
wasn't
wasn't
in
even a
that
gym,
gym.
wasn't
all
it?
the way
It was just a
across
where-
town through traffic to get there on time, and I'm late as hell. I'm trying to rush there. I get there, I'm already frustrated and pissed off, and so I change. Caitlin, you were there, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, that was Summer
Evan.
was there.
Mhm.
Oh, Summer.
Yeah, Evan and Summer.
But Grant was on RG duty because you would come in hot. Like you were definitely not having a good day, and here we are in a CrossFit gym putting you through an intense workout that we're filming, and there's haze and there's lights, and I'm behind the
No,
camera.
it
So I'm
wasn't
like,
haze,
Grant,
it was
you
smoke.
gotta
You put
jump
smoke
in
a
here.
gym. You would put smoke in a gym.
It
So
was haze.
He loves it. No, he loves it. It's smoke.
I come in, so I strip down in front of everybody and put these gym clothes on, and I, and it's like, let's go, like we're filming now, like come on, like so get the clothes on, and I walk through this thing. So I'm stomping through the hallway, and I walk into this gym that's all smoke filled, and it's like, go, jump on the rower, and so I jump on the rower, and I'm pissed. So I start rowing. I pull once, I pull twice. I pull the third time and my back goes completely out and I'm on the ground like in agonizing pain, just laying there. And I just hear Patrick and Grant go silent. They're like, oh shit.
Oh no! I went
We
to Grant.
broke our
I think
team.
you just broke the captain.
We
And like,
broke our
what the heck are we gonna do? Like, oh my God, you just put him out.
So I'm
And
laying there.
it gets to that. You're just like what do you know what I mean? You care about you in that moment, right? Like
But
it's
we're
like,
there to film.
but then we're also we just started, and this big epic scene leads up to you doing 2 rows. Like that's your big hero moment.
And you talked a big game coming in, Captain. Like you talked a big game coming in. Like the lead up, you're like, yeah, no, like I'm working out, I'm feeling good, like I'm ready to go, whatever. So like we were like,
Got my walker
we were
in the
feeling
trunk.
confident in you, right? We were feeling confident in you. We're like, we're gonna put you through the paces. This is gonna be amazing, like whatever. And so to your credit though, like very shortly thereafter, man. We went outside, we took some laps, we had, a little bit of, we preached at one another for a while, I think, or whatever. And then you immediately, like, there was one of those big oversized tractor tires sitting there or whatever. And I thought, like, this is not happening. And it was almost like we didn't even invite you to do it. You just walked over to the thing and you just started like manhandling, hulking this thing like over and over and over again. I was like, he's back, we're good to go, let's go.
Oh, and I mean, that is RG's heart right there. Like to go down, his back's out, he's not having a good day, and like something that most people couldn't do in the best of shape. Like that's an ultimate CrossFit exercise, and we're like, we don't need this. Like please, we need to make a movie. And you just totally like crushed it. And you're like, boom, clap your hands, drop the mic, and I'm out. But like, you know what I mean? That level of commitment was, we were inspired in that moment. And I remember one of our camera operators tried to do it, and he was able to do it once. And you on a bad back had done it. Like, we were all just like, what just happened?
I think you
And we
earned
did
the right to
military
put
presses and
Grant
box jumps and
through
everything
this.
else afterwards.
I think
What's
you earned the right to put Grant through a workout. I think you get to put him through one of these workouts.
Ooh, I will film it.
It's time. And now I'm in shape. I'm in shape.
That's a
now.
gym. Love you,
But-
Grant.
I'll be there
But
to cheer him on.
The thing is I went home and I didn't get out of bed for a week. I couldn't walk. I mean, I was literally like gone. But in the moment, we were able to get that footage and
when you see it in the movie, and when you see it in the movie, is it not insane?
It is. I'm fat, but it is insane.
Yeah, we have a much more cut and trim Captain now than when that filming was going on.
Yes, I'm about 35 pounds under that now.
Red carpet photos, here we come.
And both you and Richard went on weight loss plans. You stuck to yours. He didn't, but from day one, you both went on a plan the moment we started filming.
Yeah,
So
I did stick to mine.
The secret was to have Kratom on hand.
Oh yeah.
During the first eulogy, when you guys first met him, do you guys remember him throwing his back out then too? So the captain was hung over like an old crippled old man,
bent in half.
And fortunately, Joker's wife just happened to have some Kratom in her bag. And so he slammed it down real quick. And by the time that stuff kicked in, he was dancing on a coffin.
Dancing on a coffin.
But just
man, that was amazing stuff. That was amazing stuff. It was like magic. Oh, yeah, the back problems.
It works. Sure.
So, hey, Big Kate, where was one of the locations that they filmed you at?
I mean, there's several. I mean, which ones? I mean, so there was, we did Chicago. There's a bunch of scenes that we did from different places that didn't even make it too. We filmed in Florida, didn't make it anything really. We filmed in
NASCAR. I mean, Big K's so cool that his NASCAR scene didn't make it.
Yeah, that didn't make it. I don't know, man. There were several times that weekend after we didn't make it on Thursday where I was like walking around a NASCAR field like, what am I doing here right now?
Your Wrigley Field made it though. You got to throw the first pitch.
Right,
that made it.
That was sick. We did that.
That was a beautiful pitch.
That's fucking see how good that was.
Ever.
I mean, there was a concert at Wrigley a few nights later that I went back to and was asking ushers that were working there. I was like, "Hey, y'all see I read that?" They're like, "Oh, aware of your pitch, sir." Like nobody, none of the old men ushers that were there was not aware. They remember. They're like, "Yeah, we remember you." So I mean. Outrage marketing does work sometimes.
So I do have a quick question. Caitlin, I think this is aimed at you. But someone from the community did ask earlier in the stream, does everybody in the community spamming Netflix on their page of shows they'd like to have listed? Does that help or hurt us? Because it hurt us with Lex Friedman, but I'm curious if it's something the community should continue to do.
I will say put all your effort into trying to get as many people as we can at those theaters because box office numbers, that is something they have to listen to. Okay. So let's put
box
all of our efforts
the
there.
Most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a good one. That would have been a good one trying to pick somebody off at first. All right. So you guys picked a favorite in the movie, and I want you to tell us a little bit about that person. And you know who it is, so I'll let you go ahead and start, Caitlin, because you got to know us, personally, talk to us on a regular basis. These guys came in and tried to get the goods out of us, and so You know who it is. You tell us who she was.
Oh, I mean, you know, there's no favorites. We love everybody, but yeah, she steals the movie. I mean, Mikey's wife is she is something special, and she is like heart and soul, and yeah, I mean, I don't. You have to see it. People have to see it to see how amazing she is.
Yeah, and she's very tolerant too. She's in her
Of
own
other
way.
people, not you.
Yeah, not me. She takes my number out of Mikey's phone like every couple months or so. She just
Do you blame her? Do you blame her though?
No, never have.
You hear about the history? I'm like, oh yeah, she's a smart woman. But I have to say, getting to know your wife as well, another remarkable woman.
Oh, and her cookies. I mean, every time we come to the house, we get to take home bags of cookies and like just the hospitality. Yes. So
like the first time we showed up at his house at I think it was 10 o'clock at night to film an interview or something.
Is this hurting his image that we talk about? Like we leave his house with bags of cookies and hugs.
No, well, I didn't give you no cookies, and I didn't give you no hugs.
You did give us a hug.
Yeah.
That hard pirate image that I had of RG is now gone, completely decimated. So,
hey, even pirates like cookies.
Absolutely. Your wife is amazing when it comes to inviting and being a hostess. She is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, she likes to make sure that everybody feels welcome, feels at home. That's she lives for that. When people come over to the house, even when Kool-Aid comes over, she makes sure that everything is taken care of, and people eat and people have cookies and you're comfortable. And I mean, we've got people working in our backyard right now, and she's always, big buckets of ice, big buckets of waters and sodas and everything else out there every day for these guys. And yeah, she's always taking care of everybody. She's that way.
RG and Kinetics. I know this is your show. I would love to ask if we could share a Muse tradition with you and we could participate in that together. It's something we always do that's very special at the end of every production. And being that we have the group here that made this film happen, would it be okay with you if maybe we shared this tradition together?
Let's do it. We're gonna do
That's
it
what
live
I'm
on screen.
thinking. Let's do it.
Wonderful. So at the end of every production, I mean, this shit takes the life out of you, right? Like you don't sleep. It's so hard. And then you're on to the next one. So we would always have what we call a stand down. And we would go around and we would share a, kudos and an accomplishment and a highlight. Something that, to kind of reflect on what we just experienced. What I would love to ask of each of you and all of us, we spent years together, would just be a highlight. Like a single moment, though, that stood out for you in the pre-production, in the making, in the reviewing, what was each person's single greatest highlight? And to model the behavior, we can ask the master storyteller himself, Mr. Grant Peel, to kick us off, because I know it goes downhill from there. But
I'm offended. I'm offended, Patrick. You're in trouble.
You're next, Caitlin.
Okay, so the one of the things that I enjoy most is having the opportunity to have on-camera conversations. The rest of the industry would call those interviews. But for us, the way that we approach these things we approach them through the lens of it being a conversation. And one of the other things that I really pride ourselves on, and it's taken 10 years to have developed a sense of trust with Patrick on a level that we both really do everything that we can to anticipate. I think that if we were to try to capture all of what we do into one single word, I think that word, in many ways, is that secret sauce of what it is that we do. And this is an understated moment. This is a moment that no one else would choose as a highlight within this documentary. And the reason that that's true is because within the production of The Highest of Stakes, Patrick hung out of an open copter with they took the door off of a helicopter and was doing air-to-air aerials over top of, valleys inside of Iceland, right? We had huge jibs and crane arms on luxury cars flying through the valleys of Spain. We had the 2-year anniversary where all of the Hexicans had put on all of their incredible gear and surprised me with the ability to dance. That all of these people who I had, kind of in my mind's eye, up until because it's still early in our knowing one another, it was kind of like, are all of these, crypto boys going to have any talent whatsoever, like on the dance floor? And they absolutely surprised me with slaying in their dancing. But the moment, and it's very understated, but it was a moment that I just was so, proud of us on, was in an interview with RG. And I was having the conversation and Patrick was operating the camera. And you would never know this unless I share this with you in terms of a cinematic approach and the difference. And, we have a fixed lens that we use when we interview somebody. That means you can't zoom. You can't zoom in and out. The only way you can zoom in and out is to physically move the camera. In having this conversation with RG, Patrick breaks our golden rule, which is that we don't, shift or change or do much in terms of interview, with the exception of something that we can do in a way that doesn't ruin the conversation. It stays organic. You wouldn't notice the move. And he takes the camera and he shifts and moves it to within inches of RG's face. And because of the level of trust that we've developed with RG, and because it's truly a conversation, it goes unnoticed. But the difference that level of anticipation that Patrick had in knowing what RG was about to share with us, in being that intentional, in being that aware in what that is, and the cinematic difference that has, and that you will experience when that move happens, and you see it on the big screen, is so intense and so beautifully executed. And it's such a small reflection of all of the level of intention and care that goes into everything that we do. That level of anticipation, like that to me is like chef's kiss on everything that we've done in creating this story. So for me, that it's in that. It's not in the big and the grand and the over the top stuff, which is fantastic and wild and, gives you the adrenaline and goosebumps and all the things you need. But that was my highlight.
See? Pretty fun, right?
I like it. But it was very descriptive, and I don't know if I can match that. So
that was in the studio, right? Not at the big.
That's correct.
That is when you came up to Portland, and that is when people see the movie. It's when you go off about being the misfits, but maybe the misfits are what's needed to change the world. But like, we're inches from your face, and because of that relationship, it's so intimate, and you're so passionate, and it's so powerful. I
do remember.
I think you said Caitlin was next. Is that not right?
Next.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I'll
man,
pass
all
the
right.
Caitlin.
No, my highlight. Spain was pretty epic. I mean, we literally had, massive cars that were following around the McLaren and the Ferrari, and like it was insane. We had police on either side of the highway. We were driving around these roads. I mean, I was sitting in the back of the car with, I don't remember, Richard or Brent, and I'm like, oh my God, at some point the brakes aren't gonna hit. Like, holy shit, we're in trouble here. But it was awesome. But the most amazing part of that shoot was we were sitting down and Kelly and Lamont were meeting Richard, and they have this discussion about Hex, and Kelly's trying to understand, the different things about crypto. And I don't want to give too much away, but the conversation that we were having, Patrick Grant and I are sitting in the back room and we're like, oh my God. I mean, it's just like, this is wild. And, you know, these are the kinds of conversations that are why you can have an impact and why you can change people's thoughts on things, is because, you know, you bring those kinds of different perspectives together and have a real conversation. And so it was awesome. It was really epic. Spain overall was a favorite. That and the Gucci tracksuit. We love a Gucci tracksuit.
And man, you wouldn't expect like the amount of funds that were spent on some scenes versus the screen time. Like Big K's Bitcoin mine as an example, like expensive, amazing, less screen time versus that conversation between the fraud investigator, the crypto professor, and Richard. Oh shit, it just glues people to their seats. That three-way debate, it is wild.
It was awesome.
Who's
up next?
It is the best part of the trailer for sure. When the look on their faces when Richard tells them you shouldn't be trusting people like me.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think you should trust me, but if you trust people like me, you're gonna get the scam shit or shit that the scammed out of you, yeah, whatever it is. I was like, dang, that is powerful because it's so true, especially in this space.
But it's the look on Richard's face, the
Yeah.
seriousness, the heart that he's delivering that from. It's real. That's real Richard right there. That was him caring and him sharing how he cares in his way, you know. And it's a beautiful moment for Hexicans to see that, because it really shows what Richard, the passion that he has for what he's trying to do. I really love that part.
Yeah,
that
his
part.
intensity was there for sure, because you could tell he meant it.
Yes.
So
I think it's over to you, Kinetics.
I guess it's me next, right? So unequivocally for me, it was a year and 2 months ago when we were hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki and Ken McElroy, and we were at a conference for the Limitless event. And Patrick just randomly calls me and says, "Hey, I'm in Scottsdale. I need you to see some of these edits." And I'm like, "How did you know I was even here?" And he goes, "I didn't. I just disappeared and I needed to go somewhere quiet." And he's tied up in this private resort. Like, I don't know if it's an Airbnb community or what it is, but I said, "It's funny, we're already down here. So I'll just grab the captain and we'll just run right over there." And we spent at least an hour, maybe two. I don't even remember because the time just flew when we were there. But he's like, "You've got to see these things." And he just brings up these little clips. And the music you had chosen for these clips were so great. And I can't even imagine what it is.
For everybody listening, I had locked myself away at a retreat to edit and had invited Kinetics to come over and preview the scenes, and him and RG had come over to my hotel room at 10 o'clock at night to see these scenes of the movie, right? Like very, very, like we're talking.
You could tell you hadn't left for a week. Let's just
like
put
he
it that
hadn't
way.
taken a shower. He looked like he was
Patrick's hair's like this,
locked up in a freaking,
I got no shame. I'm committed.
You know, he's been working when the hair's really at an end.
The hair was like, you know, his hair's always disheveled, but it was like
wine and water bottles everywhere.
Wine and water bottles everywhere.
Yep. It was
and snacks and snack pack things.
We could tell he was, and he was just like, "You guys got to see this." Like, he's excited when we come over and we walk in and we sit down, and the scenes that probably hit me personally the hardest didn't even make it into the film. And that's how good, because we couldn't see the whole movie, but the stuff that he was working on just was that I literally laughed my ass off on some of the scenes. And then the scene that didn't even make it, when he's talking with the girls and getting real about his family, just like, I literally, and the music you chose was so perfect. Like, it hit me so hard in the feels. I just started like tearing up, and I was like, man,
eyes were sweaty.
This is
and not a little bit. Like not
a little bit.
You've got to put yourself in our shoes, right? Like this, we've been making this movie for a while. It's the first thing we're showing anybody on your side. You're coming over to my hotel room late at night, and there's a little bit of like, oh shit, like I hope they don't hate it. We of course love what we're making, but like to show you the Stockholm scene and to literally, like, the tears were visible. I called Grant and Caitlin that night and went like, You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not crying. You're crying.
You felt
I'm
it.
not crying.
And Kinetics, I have good news for you. Mr. Hart has said that we can put Stockholm on the deleted scenes. So that is good to go. Everybody that got a gift box, you get to see that scene that moved you so much on the deleted scenes.
You guys
full.
will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. That to me and RG walked out of there that night just so elated that we just like high fives, chest bumps, hugs. Like this thing is going to rock. Like there is no doubt. There's no documentary out there that's going to have this kind of entertainment value. Forget crypto movies. There's no documentary out there that has this entertainment value that hits you in the feels so hard and is got this level of production value. So I think we've done it, guys. I think you guys have nailed it. I'm just here in the back office just trying to make phone calls, but you guys have crushed it when it came to executing.
Hey, you're being a little too humble. This thing doesn't happen
Yeah.
without you. You were the one that stood up first and said, I will make this happen. And because you made it happen the way you did, we got to work way quicker than, than we would have been able to otherwise. So that cannot be understated how much you stood up and said, I will make this happen. You focus on making the movie.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
And
it. Well, I
as
had
the
a lot of good
person
help.
that you call the most in that back office, I can speak and say you are hustling. So
Caitlin
let's not let that go
she's
wasted.
the first person I go to. Caitlin, can we get this to happen? Can we get this to happen? What if we go here? What if we do that? I'm pretty sure Caitlin's sick of hearing from me at this point in time.
Never.
Well, I guess we'll have to skip Captain until he can make it back
I
on.
guess so.
I'm very curious where Big K's going to go.
I
Yeah.
agree. I want
Yeah.
to.
You got so many options here. You got private jets. You got first pitches. You got NASCAR.
I wish my
Yeah,
life
none
was
of
that exciting.
And none of those even made my those. It wasn't even. I mean, there's some thoughts that really come to my mind. Awesome moments. For me personally, being there for the recording was super epic. Of the soundtrack, that was something that was really special, and I mean, unlike any other recording experience I've been a part of. The time spent with my grandma.
You got to pick one, Big K. That's the whole game.
Okay, I know.
That's what makes it so exciting is the story of one moment.
The one moment for me that was super, pretty awesome in general was the coming together of the London event. In general, everything coming together. I mean, if I had to pick an exact moment out, it would be Richard at the dinner that we had explaining to in his own, oh wow, a lot goes into throwing an event, his own understand, hey guys, did you know that a lot goes into this? His own honest, bewilderment about there's at least 50, 60 some odd people here that have to put, the understanding that a lot does go into making an event like that come together. And the fact that there is a lot to overcome in it, there was definitely things that I, as somebody who does, I love putting on events. I love making those because in general, there's, when you as filmmakers, you understand this, that there's this epic magic moments in life, that happen. And when you're in the moment, it's hard to appreciate it as much. When afterwards, oh, there it was right there. Everything was bubbly and wonderful, and I have spent a lot of time in my days putting all the pieces of the puzzle in the right order, for that, those magic moments to happen. And, I might put the pieces of the puzzle in those places a bunch of different times and a bunch of different ways and hope magic and might not get it, but the sizzle, whatever, is not there, but you still do it for the love of it, because when an event happens just right and people have the moments that are, epic in it are super special for everyone. And I felt that party from the very get-go, y'all, we on the website, it was billed as the party of the decade. And I was whoa, damn, that is a big ask right there, So there was some part of me that was dedication to the community that I was like, all right, well, we got to put on something that's pretty fucking kick ass here, guys, you know, and then everybody coming together and being able to put on something awesome. And like I said, overcoming a bunch of issues, whether it be entertainment, whether it be audio, video, whether it be what, just there's a lot to overcome with an event. And we did a fantastic job with it. And, performers, people, the populace that whoever your guests are, everything. There's a ton that we had to overcome, and it ended up being
You had to overcome
awesome
almost getting me kicked out of the event because I ran my camera into your performer.
Oh yeah, my hero. I mean, oh boy, yeah, that was a whole exciting moment.
Apparently, when you're dancing or spinning on a large spherical cube, like you can't get the cameras too close.
Yeah, that plays to your what Grant was talking about you, Patrick, that you are trying to anticipate the best shots and get into you're dedicated to those moments and to the point of near danger for my performers, so it was
I calculated it, and she was supposed to clear by half an inch. She moved. she switched to move up.
Yeah, it's definitely her fault. Yeah. Definitely her fault.
Anyway, but that's all those things that we overcame, and to have an epic night that from beginning to end. I mean, we had a great after party as well. That went swimmingly as well. I mean, I was really impressed, and I mean that comes from somebody who somebody who has thrown a lot of events. I went into it, to be honest with you, very nervous. I was like, who knows how this is going to go? And it went fantastic. So the coming together of that really was pretty special.
What you did was huge. I mean, what you're probably a little too humble to say is Big K stepped up and made that event so much better for everybody because he did anticipate there's some things I can do here, and I know how to throw a party. This is in the middle of COVID pandemic restrictions. Not everybody can fly. It was a whole, how do we make this happen at the same time? And you stepped up, Big K, and you pulled a whole bunch of things off, which really took it to a whole other level.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was it felt great when it was all said and done. So I'm glad that I did what I did. I'm glad that y'all did what we did. I mean,
Thank you for letting me use your badass penthouse suite to interview Richard in, because that was the highlight of my trip there. Not that I didn't enjoy the party, but I felt like I was just running around like a chicken with its head cut off the whole time, trying to make sure everything went off without a hitch.
And Kinetics that also got approved for the deleted scenes. So your interview with Richard at Hex 731 and Big K, the full Hex 731 scene, fully approved. In terms of Richard's legal team, we get to use both of those, so people get to see your interview with him. They can see the party, the whole thing.
The part before the camera died. Oh no, I'm sorry, you guys' camera didn't die. That was Richard's. That I actually.
Excuse you.
Richard's. No. I apologize, everybody. So what we posted on Discord Syndicate. Yeah. So what was posted on Discord Syndicate was Richard's camera that died. But we got I still haven't seen my interview with Richard with you guys filming it, so I can't wait to see that.
I hope you got a gift box. It's on the deleted scenes,
right?
Technically, you get access to it no matter what because you're the executive producer, but we prefer you get a gift box.
Well, I just might have to do that anyway. I mean, I need a copy of the custom score. I mean, who doesn't need that? I just don't know if I have a DVD player.
RG?
Oh, I don't know if I have a vinyl player that I can play it on. Yeah, he can't. Well, no one can hear you because you don't have your mic on, Captain.
Hey, RG, remember that time that we did that whole scene with you and you did 10 minutes and then your audio was off and you had to oh shit, I'm going to restart. Oh, that is what
we call those boomer moments.
Patrick, you act like you've never had an audio glitch before. Not true. You struggled too.
Nope.
God dang it. I don't know what happened. Dang it. That sucks. But yeah, that was the quality. I just can't wait to see it. But I gotta get myself. I gotta get myself a record player.
Check
so I
1,
can play
2.
this
How about
custom
now?
There
score.
he is.
Yeah,
You look my
there
back?
you are.
You're back.
Yeah, this high dollar ATM Mini Pro shut down on me, and it
Oh
it
yeah,
screwed everything
they
up.
need a good old fashioned restart every once in a while.
Yeah, it
Sounds
screwed
like
everything.
Patrick
It's never gone
technology
down
shutting
before.
down.
That's the first time it's ever gone down. But what I was trying to say was the scenes that I think didn't make it into the film were like, wow. I mean, we had so many of them. I know Big K had some, we had some. I mean, it was, for me, my moment was, I got a phone call from Caitlin, and she tells me that, hey, the guys are coming out. We're going to film here. We're going to film there. First, you're going to go to LA to this, beautiful, big, awesome building that they're putting together, and it's going to be great, So I drive down to the absolute shittiest place in LA. I wouldn't take people there. I wouldn't take my enemies to this area. And I pull into this abandoned warehouse that's just dilapidated, decrepit. You don't even want to walk on the sidewalk out there. I go into the building, and it's just this monster old warehouse, just dusty, crusty old warehouse like I worked in all my life, right? And I'm like, what in the fuck are these guys doing, And I sat in that chair with this big warehouse behind me, just feeling small, very, very small. And so this was the moment for me where everything just kind of was real and surreal and everything all at once. And I realized the genius of these guys. And it was, I had an incident with my son, and it was pretty traumatic for our family. And we started talking about it, and it just, I was just overwhelmed with everything that was going on, the warehouse, these guys and what they were doing, and the conversation. It was just, that for me was like, wow, this is real. This is real production going on here. These guys are really trying to do something. And that scene is pretty cool when you see it. I didn't think it was going to be cool. I was like, what the hell is this going to look like? And then when I see it, now I know what you guys were shooting for, what you're trying to get. And even though I felt real small and insignificant in that warehouse and everything that was around me, all of your guys' production in front of me and everything, and the lights, but it really, it does the opposite on the film. It makes me look larger than life. It's odd how it does that, because at that moment I wasn't feeling how it portrays you in the film, so that's obviously movie magic.
Would you say that it was a reflection of you? Would you say that it was like that it leaned into who you are and what your past was?
In a lot of ways, because those bridges that I passed over coming out there were bridges that I lived under. And, the drive over there was, so it was, yeah.
And as a factory worker, right? Like when you were on the floor working, back in the day. Because our location manager, man, the shit she had to deal with, we would call and be like, okay, so he used to work in a factory and so we need like 50,000 square, like we need big, right?
It was big.
It
was big and old. Yes, big and old. It was like a wooden building and the rafters and stuff, and it was just this monster old, basically shut down warehouse, and right in the middle of LA, like right in the middle of the freeways. Like this freeway went this side of the building, this freeway went the other side of the building. It was right down the center of it, and those are all the places that I'd spent all my years toiling in, as a millwright, working in those places. And so it did a lot, like I said, driving over those bridges, coming to that place, and then sitting down in that chair and seeing everything, in front of me, and reflecting on, the Cadillac problems that I have today versus, what things used to be like. It was for me, it was a very real experience, going out to LA and filming that with you guys. I think my eyes might have even got a little sweaty too at that point.
Oh, you got fired up. Like that was wild, right? Because that's when you were. I mean, you got fired up at every interview, but
that a lot of it had to do with you, Patrick. A lot of it had to do with you.
oh yeah. I mean, I thought you were coming over the camera the first time when Caitlin and I flew in the middle of the night. I don't know what had happened. I think Nomics had changed the rating of Hex or something, but it was happening in real time. Like, and there was this big, outrage, and we had flown to you the next day to get it, like as it was happening. And I had pushed you a little bit on,
a little too far,
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get Rusty back here. So.
Yeah, Grant was jumping in the middle, and you were backing up, and we were coming over the table. Yeah, it was interesting.
But
we had that relationship through the whole film, and afterwards we took a breath and we were like, man, that was great. We did something great there.
And that realness is why it's emotional. It's why when you see the film, you feel something, is because, everybody was able to be very vulnerable, especially you two, RG and Big K and, talking to grandma, and, it brings the authenticity, which is where you get something and you're like, wow, this is impactful.
Yeah. And that's why this film, what I've been talking to the community about, I can't really talk about, in depth, but it's different than any other crypto movie that's ever been made. And it's not salacious to the point where somebody has murder for hire, somebody ends up in prison, somebody disappears with everybody's money. It's not that kind of a movie. It's the real people behind this community. It's the real people that are doubting this community. It's the real people and the narrative that is out there right now, telling their story on all sides. And you guys did a fabulous fucking job of doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that it does watch like I mean, it doesn't like I don't feel like I'm watching a documentary when I'm watching.
Right?
Like it feels like I'm watching a movie. It's more of a movie than it is really. I mean, I know they're both movies, but like
even though we
like
know the players and the characters within this story, we know this community, I still felt like I was on the outside in, wanting to be involved in this world that was happening behind the scenes. So it was so well done, so beautifully done.
Wait till Thursday. When you get to walk the red carpet and you've got photographers and you go in the room and it's all of us there and the lights go down and you get to see it, with the 40-piece orchestra and the full sound and the colored picture and the updated ending that brings in Pulse Chain. And like, it will be a once in a lifetime moment. It will be like incredibly powerful to share that with all of you. And to just experience that is going to be off the charts.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been thinking about that a whole bunch. That it really feels like a different experience than most other movie experience. I've been trying to like find something that is anywhere near as close, because, like, I mean, sure, you can go see an opening weekend movie of the Avengers or some shit, and it's like, what connection do you or anybody else there, even if it's a packed theater, have to like that story? It's a fucking made up, fictional superhero story. But like this, all of these people, like most of the people that are going to be seeing this movie, I mean, like a lot of the sold out spots, I mean, tickets sold out very fast. The people that are paying attention are the people who, associate and feel this connection to the story the most, so like you're going to have packed theaters full of people that are all uniquely feel connected to the story, ready to experience it together in like, it's I mean, I'm just, it's not, there's not that many, movie like experiences that come anywhere near close to this feeling. I really am trying to, I've seen a lot of movies in my day. I can't think of one that parallels it. I mean, I saw Fish 3D, and like it was like a concert, movie, and like there's at the movie theater, and there's a lot of people there that like you go to see shows, and there's like a similar collective of people there, kind of in the moment, enjoying, similar feeling, but like it's still not the same. It's still just, this isn't, it doesn't hold anywhere. I can't really I mean, have any of y'all can think of anything that parallels it? Because I think this is a pretty unique, and it will be a unique moment for everybody to experience.
I have a question for Big K, RG, and Kinex. What was the thing that surprised you the most? Because you guys have all screened the film. What was the thing that surprised you the most when you watched it? For the
No
first
spoilers.
time? No spoilers.
Oh, they haven't even seen the finished film.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's
like
true.
they've
They're
seen
not
most of
the
it.
most updated finished film. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I think that like it's tough because like so far from what I saw, the way that it ended last time was like surprising. I mean, it was real, but it's still surprising to me the way it was. So like now it's different. So I don't actually think that my feelings on that matter. That was surprising to me, but I guess, but now not so much. It'll be something different.
Kinetics, RG?
I would say the continuity, how you guys did such a great job of editing such great footage, such high production value all the way from beginning to end. How it's just there was never a time where it seemed like it was cut to the wrong scene. It was always appropriate. It was very well storyboarded out. It was very well planned, and there was never that time, because when you watch documentaries, you're like, oh, they totally switched gears, but it wasn't really congruent with where the film was at previously. And it was seamless all the way through. The movie's over and me and Captain look at each other like, is that it? Like, I swear we've been here for 5 minutes. Is this just a 5-minute movie? And so 90 minutes goes by and you're like, wow, I didn't even realize the time. That was, to me, that was without giving away any specific scenes, that was appalling to me, that how sucked into the movie I was, and how great you guys did putting it all together.
Yeah, I can piggyback a little bit on that. But the first time I got to screen the film with my friends and family I was nervous as hell. I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is my father-in-law, this is my good friends, and my son and my daughter, and everybody was there, my wife, and so I don't watch my own streams. I can't listen to myself talk. I hate it. It just bothers me, the sound of my own voice. But it went by so quick, and I enjoyed it, and I felt the flow of the film. Just nonstop, kept going. I wanted more of it. I wanted to see more of it, and I got a good feeling from it. But I wasn't as immersed, so it was good. But then when I saw it with Kay and Alex, and we went and watched it in LA, and you guys had put the sound to it. The sound changed the whole movie for me. It just pulled you in. It brought every scene in and out perfectly. I mean, the sound did it for me. When you guys put that orchestra to it, and whatever you did to colorize a film, or whatever you guys called it, when you guys did all that, that time I saw it, I was like, wow, we've really got something here, because it just pulled me in. I just wanted to see more and more. Like Kinetic said, you almost forget that you're watching yourself, and you're watching the people that you know well, your friends and people that you've been in this space with, and you just wanted to see more of it. And then the ending, of course. And now, knowing what you guys are doing to the ending and not being able to see it yet, now I'm really fired up. Like, this is gonna be awesome to see how you guys end it now with Pulse Chain launching and the few little scenes that we've put together. So, man, it's definitely that was it for me. Caitlin, was the second time I got to view the film after you guys had finished putting the sound to it. It just changed the whole film for me.
They said the same is true of Rocky. When they put the movie Rocky together and you watched it, it was something, but then they added the sounds of the punching, because it wasn't really there. And the difference that made was like, a factor of 25 or 100x. So it's interesting to hear you to make that equation in this same sense, is that, that's true often of a lot of theatrical experiences. It's, because, a movie is half sound.
And
so
that's just
it's
it.
really
This is a
interesting.
documentary,
You know
not a
that, right?
theatrical, but it's a theatrical representation of a documentary is what you guys did. And that's what you did to it. When you put that sound to it, it just kind of like just pushed it up a whole nother notch for me. I mean, it was just,
That's awesome.
wow.
I thought then that moment was awesome because seeing feedback from somebody else like
Yes.
like Alex in the moment was really awesome. My friend Casey too, who like has been lovably along for the ride this whole time, but also is my greatest skeptic. One of my so he's always like, I don't know how this, so him being like, wow, this is pretty fucking good movie here, is also getting perspectives from the two of them, and after that was pretty awesome because like seeing somebody else new see it and experience it. I thought it was great. I've thought since the first scene that I've seen y'all put together, I was like, oh wow, this is going to be awesome. So I felt like we've seen a lot together, seen a lot of what it was going on along the way. So like I wasn't like blown away by. I mean, I was, but like I was expecting awesomeness, But to see other people also agree is they're like, all right, that's yes, I'm not crazy. This is awesome. So
Yeah.
Well,
we need
I
your
know it's
highlight,
getting
man.
late.
You've been sitting on it. We need to know your highlight.
Yeah.
mine.
P's the only one who hasn't finished his highlight.
Oh.
Patrick.
Everybody else has done theirs, but Patrick hasn't.
When we were in Iceland, I mean, Richard's a little bit of an enigma, right? In that there's just some very interesting things about him that are hard to figure out, such as him getting the penthouse suite, yet going, well, it's $20 to get my underwear cleaned. That's too much, so I'll like wash it myself, which he would do while we were traveling. You know what I mean? And it's something so wild. And so while we were in Iceland, I had asked him if we could have a night, an evening, a couple hours, just to like hang out with other cameras. Like, let's just like, you know what I mean? No, let's just take a minute. And I just want the crew to get a chance just to like ask you a question. Let's have dinner together. No big deal, right? Because we spent so much time, but it's always on the clock. You're always going. And we're out in the middle of nowhere, Iceland. And so we get a chance to kind of go around and everybody gets a chance to ask him a question. And it turns out that there's a pool table downstairs. And so we're going to play pool, right? And so Richard has a background in playing pool and he doesn't like to lose. And so he's like, oh, you want to play? And so he starts kind of, getting ready to gamble or bet or whatever. And I'm sitting here going like, when do you get a chance to play, somebody who's rumored to be a billionaire, a game of billiards, off camera for fun and, whatever. And so he's like, hey, how about $5 a ball? And I'm like, come on. Right. And so like, without smirking, I'm just like, how about $1,000 a game? And like, I'm doing it for the experience. Like I can totally lose. It's just like, I want to see, I'm going to call this bluff. Right. So I won't share what happens after that, but it was just wild to be there and to like have that challenge and be able to go down and play the game and like off camera and just, really have those challenges. And to me, so much of this movie and so much of my highlight was when we always got those moments to challenge each one of you, right? It's RG jumping over the camera, it's Big K coming into an environment where you're quite emotional because it's been made so real. It's all of those things, but it's finding the different ways to challenge each one of you and to bring that to life in the film. So yeah.
Nice. Well, we want to close out. There's one last thing that I want to say to you guys, and I want to thank you for. But you said you searched, you went and interviewed all the Hexicans, and you were looking for the one true Hexican, and you called me the truest Hexican. I want to say, thanks for casting me that way. Thanks for putting me in the film that way. I don't feel I am the truest Hexican. I think that I'm just happy to be here and want to be here. And, there are plenty of other people out there doing a lot more work or better work than I am. And so thank you for that honor. Thank you for saying that. but I don't look at myself as being the truest of Hexicans. But I take it with honor. So thank you for doing that.
And
Thank you.
I just got one last word on our way out because I know we're all getting ready to leave here. It's getting late, especially where Caitlin's at. All of you guys, thank you all for your independent marketing efforts. Be careful. Please feel free to reach out to us on what kind of verbiage you're using and where you're putting these ads out there. That was cool that the communities come together for some of these individual marketing tactics. But the big one is the one we are running, guys. Trust me on this. There's a lot I can't talk about with this, but I did line out a bunch in my Twitter on this. And what you guys are doing is cool to get eyeballs out there. But if you guys want real mass adoption and global distribution, the marketing effort that we are putting on, you can find it in the link in the description below, or the EVM address for both Pulse Chain and Ethereum for donations is down there. Trust me, guys, that's the one that's going to matter. That's the one that is tried, tested, and true in Hollywood. And it's we know for a fact it works. So if you guys will so kindly, if you guys feel like it's something you guys are interested in participating in, please look that up and help us out with those efforts. Those are more important than anything else that the community is doing by itself. Just want to throw that out there.
Yep. Any last words, anybody?
Just thank
Thank
you.
you. This has been lots of fun, guys.
This
Thanks
has been
for
a lot
coming,
of fun.
Kang.
It's a
You guys,
blast, guys.
Thank you for coming. It was a
Thanks
lot of fun.
Thanks
And
for reminiscing around the round table with us about the last 2 years. It's been a heck of a journey, guys. We're almost there.
It has.
Almost there.
And it ain't over yet.
Hopefully there's-
Can't wait to see you
Nope.
guys next
You're
week.
up for
Yes,
Thursday.
you're gonna come to
Yep, that's right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. We'll see you all next week. Get your tickets. There's more dates for the 12th. So if it's in your area, make sure you're getting your tickets for the 12th, and look in your some of your local theaters are actually putting extra presentations on the same day. So there may, if you got a Saturday that sold out or a Friday that sold out, look in there and see if there might be, they've added actual extra presentations on the days of the screening. So if you missed it, you didn't miss it. There's more out there. So check it out. Go to Regal Theaters and check out their site.
Butts in the seats, guys. We need butts in the seats.
If you have any questions, if it's in your market, hello at the highest of stakes, and we'll send you a link. We're trying to make it so that everybody can see it opening weekend.
Right on. All right, guys. We'll see you on the red carpet. Have a good one.